everybody. Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means? I've got vodka in my cup. No, what it really means is it's time for the breakdown. What? I'm your host, Catherine, aka the High Heel Gamer, and today we're breaking down One Armed Bandit by Julius Blair. Look at me knowing names. Bam, bam, bam.
That's
Next
a
thing you know, he's
first.
going to show up and be like, that's not how you pronounce my name at all. Just when I think I got it down pat, folks, never. Julius, welcome to the show.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
What's
I'm
up, man? How
good.
you doing?
I'm surprised Jack is here. Jack is usually not here.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for coming on and tell everybody that today your producer is sponsored by Wicked Weed, the maker of Pernicious, a delicious beer when you're producing and you haven't eaten all day.
Or vodka,
Or
which
vodka
is in this
as well.
wonderful The Breakdown cup. Get yourself one. Anyway, but we're here for Julius's comic book, like I mentioned, The One Armed Bandit, which is on its final legs on Kickstarter. Am I
24
correct?
hours.
24,
Yes, it is. We did get it successfully funded, but it's been a grind. But I wanted to make sure that everyone that can take advantage of it and go ahead and see that preview and just see what I have to offer. This is just like the starting point. I want everyone to see what I can bring to the table, and I definitely am excited to share it with any and everybody.
It is
Like
exciting. I've heard a lot of people say that the Kickstarter is a grind. It's like a second and third job put together.
it
um,
is. It was crazy you said I was on Facebook, and there's a lot of people that are like me that have a passion to write, but then they don't want to like afford it. They just say, hey, write draw for free for me, and then when we get a Kickstarter, it will all come together. And they have no clue how much work it takes to get something there, and then how much work it takes for the illustrator. Just because I'm a writer, I have a different ideal, and then the illustrator, we have to kind of come together and meet, and it takes a lot of time on their end to draw what I write, and so you gotta compensate them, and you gotta pay for it. And with this particular Kickstarter, I just did it mostly as a print run. I wasn't looking. I couldn't get my money back. This is actually the second Kickstarter for this
oh,
particular comic,
okay.
because the first one, I was trying to recoup my costs, give a lot of cool memorabilia out, but it didn't pan out. So I decided to, let's tailor it down. Let's just get the content out there and let the customers find the story and just get it. And the only way you can do that is you got to get a product. You got to get something in their hands.
Yeah, that's a very true statement. And then you also hit an important detail there is when people are like, "No, let's do it for free," or "You can get them for free," or whatever. But and then they also throw nowadays, "Well, you're in quarantine, you're not doing anything." But I mean, the fact of the matter is, just you are. You're probably working from home, probably teaching a child from home. You got to clean the home you're in. You got to clean and feed yourself. I mean,
Yeah,
these talents that all of you have, whether it's writing or artistry, takes time and dedication and focus. And have you found it easier or difficult to write during this pandemic and quarantining and all that good jazz?
well, as far as it goes, anytime you write, you just got to be, it has to be, I'm more of a person that likes to, everything has to be kind of going. It's like a flow. It's you slowly just work at it, and then it kind of happens. Once I start to think about it, it's just kind of, you're in the zone. And once you're in that zone, you just want to be there as long as you can. So with everything going around, it was a little harder trying to dictate time, because I go to work and I'm considered essential, so I have
Oh,
to be at the same time. I had to be there for my kids for their schooling, because their school wasn't open. At the same time, I still was had to fund my illustrators and bounce around the couple projects that I have going on. And it is a passion of love. It's like a restoring an old muscle car. You
yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Spend a fortune. So this time I spent a lot of time, money, and resources in researching things that that you never think about. So in my mind, I have it like, okay, that I break down a certain scene, and then that scene in particular I have to show the illustrator what I mean during that scene, because we have to
Oh,
basically come together. And or if I want a panel drawn a certain way, I gotta find a good example, and that is intense. So it's always good. As one things I do is I grab Pinterest links, whatever I find,
oh,
screenshot it so I could show my illustrators what I'm interested in.
oh,
And but
that's
it has allowed me
smart.
to do that. It is smart. It just takes it takes a lot. There's My Pinterest is crazy. I have different ideas broken down in categories. My Google Drive is full beyond measure, and so it just helps.
You're the first person that's ever said that. Like other people are like, no, we leave it in the hands of the artist, or no, I tell them what I want and they do it. But you're the first person that's actually using Pinterest as like idea sources and as close to reference as possible. Now, did you send these to the artist and was like, I want it as close to this as possible, or I want something along these lines? What were
So what I normally like to do is I'll take a bit pieces and bits and pieces of what I like. I may like this guy's eyes, this guy's hairstyle, this guy's shoes, this guy's
okay.
boots, this guy's arm. And the illustrator knows that they're not you can't copyright exactly what's there, so
Mm-hmm.
they will put their spin on it. And then as when they give me their spin, I go ahead and tweak it as I see, like, hey, let's try different, so we can go back and forth. And some illustrators don't like me because um, the illustrator is normally likes to get paid to draw what they want to draw, and I respect that
Yeah.
100%. But then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when we have a payment agreement, like, I want to pay you what I will pay you, but I want to ultimately get the product. And so I have learned over the years of how to pick the right illustrator. If you're
Mm-hmm.
drawing a cowboy comic, you don't go to a guy that likes to draw sci-fi. You got to pick and choose what you want. And I work with so many different illustrators that having the references and showing them exactly what I want has always worked best for me. And so
Okay.
that's kind of what you have to do, because each artist has their own creative vision, and I respect that creative vision. It's just sometimes it doesn't exactly align with what I'm trying to accomplish in whatever particular comic. So
Yeah.
I have to have the references, and believe it or not, illustrators love references. They
Oh,
love it. They
really?
like, okay, now exactly. I know exactly what I can draw. And I've had
Okay.
some that told me they don't want to draw that. Then I've had some that gave me a product that I loved, and then they were upset that I loved it, and then they said they don't want to draw for me. So it's like I don't know what's going on.
They were upset that you like this is you're like this is great. No, hate it so I can do
Yeah,
it again.
exactly. It's like
So
exactly. They're
funny.
like, oh, no, don't do it. And they're like, I can't believe you liked it. And it was a really good concept for me. It was for another project I was working on. I have about 5 projects in the work. One thing about being a writer, you can write all day, and it takes a lot longer for an illustrator to draw it. So you get to write more stuff, and then
Mhm.
work on more projects. Everyone always says, my girlfriend Sieta tells me, she's like, you got to work on one, work on one. I was like, but I can't. That's not how it works. I got to work on more. If
Yeah,
they
your
come,
brain
just
bounces all over the place. No, the brain bounces all over
Multitasking.
the place. Yeah, no, there's no Jack and I, we never focus on one thing or complete one thing. We're doing like
Hell
10
no.
different things at once. And it's like, yeah, we're completing this, but at the same time, we're doing three more things.
yeah, exactly. Because while you're working and thinking of another idea, you're like, wait, I can't use it here, but I can use it there, and then there you go. Now you're working on another whole concept.
Yeah, yeah. So Julius, I read that you wanted to create, was it movies or TV shows? Or both?
I would do both. I really, um, coming from where I grew up, like, when you watch a movie, it takes you out of your reality. Whatever's going on in your life, you aren't thinking of that. You are thinking of whatever that character is going through. You're like
Mhm.
in another world, and I always like that. Like, you just get to see worlds through the different opinions, and that's what I really enjoyed. And so I wanted to do that. I have a story that I wanted to tell, and the best way to do that is through comics. I was going to write books, but it's better as comics. It's just you can't beat that medium. And then once it's already storyboarded, it's already there. And I've had interviews with like Image Comics, but by the time I got to the guy, it was like I was talking to the fourth guy, like the fourth head honcho. I was supposed to have an interview with Todd Farland's right hand man, but he ended up being busy. So I talked to someone else. I don't even remember his name. He looked at my stuff so quick and he was like, "We only hire people that are known." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like,
Well,
"Yeah."
damn.
So that was one. Yeah, that was one of those like, ooh, like humble, but like at the same time, I was like, okay, then I know what I have to do. And then
Yeah.
I got in touch with people to help me cultivate that craft and get there. Now the part I'm on is like another lesson is the marketing. It is not it is not easy. I've seen people get crazy figures on Kickstarter, but like you have to have the marketing, you have to have the
Right.
back. So, uh, I'm at this point. I'm gonna have to get a little backpack and just go door to door with a mask and just say, hey, like, come,
With a flyer, like it's not political,
yeah,
it's comic books. Like here you
yeah,
go.
no, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
walked up to random people like, hey, you into comics? Just start off with that, and then they say yes or no. But if they yes, hey, let me show you what I got. Let me show you something. You know,
Yeah.
you got everyone starts at one. Everyone starts at one.
Oh, that is a true statement. You should set up like a booth at a park so that way it's out in the open and people can still be
There you go.
socially distancing. Open a booth and just kind of like the Peanuts or what is it, Lucy does the little has the little stand and you just be like, you know, $10 for this comic. You got it, it's yours.
你知道我对你不仅仅
Brilliant
是喜
idea.
欢。
Yeah, ideas for days. So so were you a big fan of comic books before you decided like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna try my hand on comics? Or did you find comics like at a later start?
Well, so at first I was into comics. This was before like Netflix, Hulu. That you didn't
Hmm.
have that. You didn't have smartphones. The only phone, the first one I had was a little blue phone, and you played like Snake.
I
That's
was
really
getting ready to
all
say,
you
was
did.
it Nokia and you played Snake? I was totally
Yeah,
gonna say the
yeah,
same
that
thing.
big phone.
Whoa.
Yep.
That's it. So comics was one of the first things I liked, and I found myself really interested in their stories. And I was like, you know what, this story would be better if they would do this or do that. And then that's kind of how it started. So even at a young age, like 13, I was writing on my little brick of a computer, trying to put my ideals down. And then that took a while to keep refining. I've been working on this thing for years, and then I came across the part where my writing wasn't as good as I needed to. Then I needed to, once I was able to write what I wanted, I was able to get great characters made. I went and found great illustrators. The comic you see there is the character concepts was what I did first, what I had done
Okay.
first. And that one right there is one. This guy was really good. He did this in one shot, and it
Wow.
was great. He was able
Wow.
to get it all down and get it there. And then I had another illustrator pick it up, and he was the one that colored it. And so this is the
Okay.
main character of the story, Jaden, the
Jaden.
one armed bandit, and he actually has one arm. This view doesn't show it much, but he has
Yeah.
one arm. And so I
I'm not
wanted
gonna
to
lie, when I
basically,
first saw it, I thought it was gonna be the bad guy, and then I see him like piloting the ship, and I'm like, oh no, the hero has like the one arm. That's dope. Like I
yeah,
totally thought it was gonna be like the bad guy, and that threw me for a
oh
loop.
yeah, yeah. What I really like is like I love hooks in every story. I want people to see it and be like, well, how did he get one arm? What was he
Yeah.
born like that? What did he come from? What is the story? So the first comic, I like to put him back like right there in the struggles of what it is to be a hero. At the same time, what it means to be someone that's struggling with their own issues, their own
Hmm.
little internal. And this was an excellent character because even though he had one arm, he was still fighting the good fight. And even though he had his own issues, he was still fighting the good fight. It's like what we do every day. Everyday people, we all have
Yep.
our issues, but we suck it up and we keep going. You know.
Yeah, that's a true statement right there. No truer words have ever been said. And it's funny that you started off with the whole. It makes people think like, was he born like that? Did he lose? Because that's exactly once the realization hit that Jaden was the one with one arm. I'm like, well, was he born like this? Well, what happened? Was there like a war? What's going on? But the action starts like from page one, like it's well, you've got like a couple of panels that are just regular, and then boom, right into the action. And I like that a lot. Um, so tell us a little bit about One Armed Bandit Chapter One.
Okay, well, chapter one is the intro. It's the basically kind of sets the tone for exactly what's going on. I made it to where he's on his way to take on his arch nemesis. They finally tracked him down. I basically started in the middle of the story here, and I'm trying to show you like how he feels, and even though he's on his path and he's on his way, how at a under level, like how he's disturbed, and and how he still has his fights with his own demons while he's trying to take on the demon of his own, like a physical demon that he's met. And that basically, I do that in a way by showing that ASIC character is one of ASIC is his right hand, is like an artificial intelligence, and
Oh, yeah,
she
ask
has the
about that.
ability to kind of go in his mind and see how crazy everything's going. And I wanted to showcase that. I wanted to basically show how even though a person's doing the right things, he's still not 100% balanced himself, but they know the right path that they're going on.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask about that character because I was reading it and she kind of like disintegrates, or yeah, it disintegrates in a way. And I'm like, well, where is she going? And then she appears in his mind. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a minute to realize it, but I'm always a step
Yeah.
behind. So it's nothing to your writing or the panel. I'm always a step behind. And I was wondering if she was like an AI or if she was just like a spirit with him or an alien that can do those kinds of things. So I was very interested in that character. Where is she based upon another like comic book character, or was she just made from your imagination?
Well, she was made for my imagination, but I really like the dynamics of just having that AI character be able to help you transition from different scenes. And it was really like she allows you to really go deep into other people's thought. I love seeing more than anything, so I don't like to read like how if a guy is thinking about why he did what he did and he's thinking about it.
Right.
I more or less like to show. And so ASIC allows you to show that ability. And with her being an artificial intelligence, she gets to transition between multiple levels and has her own logic in it. So she kind of helps compound the issues he's going through, but also helps to understand that she has issues as well. And as they go this path, they're
Oh,
still discovering each other. There's just the what I liked is like what I got the inspiration from was Halo or Cortana. So
Cortana.
Cortana was she was just kind of telling them what to do, but Master Chief was still Master Chief, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
one thing I
Yeah.
missed is like you never got to see what Master Chief was really thinking, like, you know. And I thought this would be a
Um,
cool thing to have an AI integrated in the person's mind to kind of see what they're thinking, see take the the superhero out of the element and kind of bring you to the human nature because we all are superheroes in our own right, you know. So
yeah.
that's kind of what I was thinking there.
That's actually pretty dope. I like that concept too because we can, and it's true, we can all be like smile faces all day long, but you never know exactly what's going on in someone's mind. And I find that like such an interesting twist that she can go in there and sort things, or it seems like she's trying to sort things out and
Yeah,
bringing him
yeah,
back to where he needs to be, type of thing. So
yeah.
I like that a lot. I didn't know. I was not. Had you ran down a list of people, I would never have guessed Cortana from Halo. Like not even close to
Oh,
that.
yeah,
But it
well,
makes perfect
that
sense,
was just
right? Like,
It does. It does. Once he explains it, I'm like, oh, that 100% makes sense. But if I was to guess it on my own, never would have guessed Cortana.
that's some deep nerd stuff.
Yeah, it is deep nerd stuff.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
here for it. I'm living for it. I love it. Um, So, how many chapters do you have in Jaden's story arc?
So in the first arc, this is crazy. So it all started when I went to a Comic Con and they were like, "Hey, before you get anything copywritten, you need to have the whole arc done." I was like,
Oh,
"What?"
Right.
damn.
I was like, "Okay." So I had the sat. Yeah, that's what I was surprised too. I was like, "Okay." So I sat down and I wrote 28 chapters, each 24 pages long. The way I break down my panels is I do it per panel. I break down my page per panel, what I
Oh,
want on each
wow.
panel, what I want them saying, because in my where in my market, when I hire an illustrator, I don't know what level of technique they're gonna have. Like I can't
Oh,
just write something and hope they're gonna capture everything. I just will tell them what I want in each one. And that they actually really like that. They like, oh, you tell me you create a vision, and that's one of my my talents. So as far as that goes, I basically break it down. I wrote 28 chapters, and then I got all the characters done because I thought I'd be able to submit it all in one nice little package. Well, come to find out, when I went to the
Right.
website, they only do 10 at a time, and I was like, what? I was like, okay. And then on top of that, your characters they're different. You can't just put it all.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, so basically, I called them, and then I talked to them. They said, "Oh yeah, just submitting the comic is the best way because every time you submit a comic, it's copywritten, and then all the characters and the words are copywritten."
yeah. That's why I was
I was
surprised that
like,
they
okay.
said, yeah, that was why I was
So
surprised
now
that
I'm
they said
working
write all of that.
on that. So been working on chapter 2, and chapter 3 is also in. I see a lot in there. Now
Uh-huh.
I have 20 chapters, and it works great.
Yeah, I was surprised that they told you like to write out the whole story, like everything, because when you publish, yeah, like they told you when you publish the one book, everything gets copywritten in that book.
Yeah.
So, like that was interesting. What convention was that? Do you remember?
I forget. I just like a Phoenix convention. I haven't been to a convention in a while because I was going there to look for an artist, and
Oh,
the artists are really good, but they were all busy. They were all swamped. They all had their own
Right.
little project going on, and I was okay, all right. But I got to see what other content was there and see a lot of things that are going there. You, if you've never been to a Comic Con, you gotta mentally prepare yourself for some things you
yes.
see. It is. I'm gonna just say that like I could see it, and then there's like some. I'm a nerd, right? Like people don't get that, but there's some nerds there, and I'm just like, oh, wow, they go full on dress up, and they dress out, and no matter what character. And normally it's like they have the suits and everything. It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They go out, but I like that commitment, and I want to be a part of that. One day, someone, you know, dresses up as Jaden or ASIC, and they come to the convention. So
That would be
just
cool.
wait for that.
That actually had happened to friends of mine, Marcus Williams and Greg Burnham, who created Tuskegee Airs. The first time they saw somebody cosplay Tuskegee Airman, they were like blown away. It was like, oh my god, I can't. And we just recently had Eric Claus from Ninjas and Robots, and somebody cosplayed his comic book character too, and he was like, I
That would
was
be a
mind blown.
hard one too, right? Like, that would
Yeah,
be a tough
yeah.
cosplay. I feel like, do you imagine, like, have you imagined, I'm assuming someone taking on your characters and cosplaying them, but have you imagined it being terrible?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest, there's some cosplays where you're like, "Whoa, that's a terrible cosplay." Like,
The point
Yeah,
is that they cared enough to try, Jack.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
not
yeah.
cosplay shaming here.
Well, as I've seen some ones that they did that it's just I don't even know how they had a job and came back to doing that. Some of these people do things in a ridiculously detailed level. I don't even know how
Yes.
they get the pictures to make the things that they make. I've seen an Iron Man cosplay suit that looked like an Iron Man had the robot,
That's it.
had the like the lifting.
Oops, wrong button.
Like, jeez,
Yeah,
but where there's a will, there's a way. That's
I know that's right.
Let me just to chime in here, I wanted to ask you, how many, you've mentioned other comics in the past, how many comics have you done? How many Kickstarters have you done?
Oh, well, so this is my second Kickstarter. My first Kickstarter, it took a substantial amount of money to get this done. And I was like, if I could just get that Kickstarter, if I can get that golden, that holy grail and reach it, everything will be okay. And little did I know, once I got to that mountain, there's like another mountain you got to climb. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, all right, you gotta do some work. So, because I did research on Kickstarters, and I was like, okay, all right. I seen I forget what his name. I forget what his name is. But John Wick. Okay, I forgot what his real name.
Keanu
Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves.
Keanu
Yeah, Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves. Keanu Reeves had a Kickstarter. I'm like, see, I was like, oh, his goal was smashed in like hours. And I was like, you don't even need a Kickstarter. But anyway,
Right?
I was and I did research and I talked to people and I was trying to get every all the information I could, and I seen some that didn't have very much information at all, and they were getting super amounts. They're getting like 20,000, even though they wanted
Wow.
7,000. So when I
Yeah.
posted it, at first I posted it for like 12 because I was like 12 is good because I had to hire everybody to do everything, and I was
Mhm.
like, this would be great. I had the animation going on the first page of Kickstarter. I had the animation going and everything, and all that cost money. Well, that didn't go as well as I planned, but I had some feedback from a couple of my friends on Facebook that did comics, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, well, your stuff is a little boring. Let's do this to spice it up." And I was like, "Ooh, kind of hurt, but that's what you need." And then I was like, "Okay," so I did that, and I was annoying everybody. I was posting every when I woke up, any group I joined, I was sending it to them. I got
Sometimes
admins
you
hitting me up
have
saying,
to
"Hey,
be like that.
Yeah.
this is not appropriate for this group." I'm like, okay, but what group are you? Because I've been going to every group. Tell me what group this is. I was
Yeah.
sending out and doing everything I could, and that's when I started to get a lot of people come at me and say, "Hey, I like this. Hey, Then I started researching again. They say, "Hey, get a mailing list, so make sure everybody gets hit up on
Yeah,
it." So it's
updates.
like I said, everyone starts at one, and then you
Mhm.
keep
Yeah.
going. So that's what I kept going for. And then the second one, I throttled it down to something where I can get about 200 copies of a print run, and that's what this Kickstarter was for. And I wanted to just put it in people's hands, and for $1. This Kickstarter One Armed Bandit print run, they can get the PDF of the comic because I wanted it to get
Nice.
out there. I want people to
People
share
to
it,
read it.
and people to read it. And then once I get a physical copy in people's hands, then they'll be able to go ahead and hand it out and just get it out there. Like that's all I want people to find something else that they can enjoy. I love superheroes as much as the next person, but they're just doing the same thing now. It's like a
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles. We had Ninja Turtles back in the day. we had we had Sonic. We had you know the Avengers, Batman, Just Aquaman, all that stuff was there.
Everybody.
That's been
Yeah.
there, So why don't we have something new? And
That is
I
a
love
montage
anime
of
as much as
characters.
What?
yeah, but like
That is a montage of characters. We went
Oh,
from
yeah.
Sonic to
yeah,
to Batman in a heartbeat.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they're just remaking the things that were there. There's no one's wanting to take that risk anymore. They want something
Hmm.
that's safe. And I don't have nothing to lose, so why don't I put out what I want to put out and put the story out that can be something different? And that's what I believe that we're missing. Like anime is they have a weird way of going at it, but their creativity is crazy, and I love it. Like they have some different ways of seeing things. I would wish they toned down the theatrics and the drama, but that's just what their
The seven
culture is.
episode fight.
Yeah.
Bring that down a
So
notch.
How many
yeah,
episodes was the
yeah, they
Spirit Bomb just for Goku,
I think it
in
was
Dragon
7.
Ball? Like, he's
oh
just making
yeah
a
that.
Spirit Bomb for 7 episodes.
Yeah. It was like 7.
And back in the day when you had to watch it in Toonami, oh man, you'd be
Oh my
watching it, and
god.
right when they get to the fight scene with Frieza, they start the whole thing over. I
Over
was like,
again.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
they did that
Yep.
so many times, and there was no internet. You could go look at it. There was nothing.
No.
You just
It was
Nope.
painful,
It
right?
was.
Like, you're like, "We don't need a
100%.
recap. We've been waiting a week.
Yeah,
Just
like
shut up
we
and get
know
on
what's
with it."
happening. Like just get to it.
Goku's still
Yeah.
there like,
Yeah. Yup.
Meanwhile,
Right. Yeah. But I like that fact, and I hope people that are nervous or scared to go out there and do their stuff listen to what you said. Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and because everything else has been done. So I like that attitude because it's true. If you just sit on your stuff that you want to do, it's never gonna get done. Um,
yeah, and one thing that amazes me is sometimes out the blue I get a message from somebody, and like it's like kind of like God giving me that extra push. But what happens is they say, "Hey, I've been wanting to make my own comic for years. I'm 60 now, but I'm glad you're doing your dream." And I'm just like, wow, like to have that passion burning in you and you like put it out, or whatever happened in your life where you put that passion out, that is like a disservice to yourself. But
Yeah.
I want to show everyone, no matter what background, that they can do what they want to do. I know things are difficult. Everyone has their own race, and even though we say we're all created equal, it's not really that way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you still can fight for your own peace. You can always look on the bright side. I always tell my kids, like, I wanted to make movies. So, okay, what? I looked up Afro Samurai and I was like, oh, how much did that cost? Oh, 200,000. And I was like, wait. And then
Word.
they paid Samuel L. Jackson. Like, I think they paid him. No, it was 800,000. That's how much it made to animate Afro Samurai. And then they paid Samuel L. Jackson like 800,000, just 800 million. Wait, no, 800,000. I'm sorry, just to play the voice for the side character, and
Yeah.
to use Samuel L. Jackson to promote that. And I was like, I don't have that kind of money. Well,
No,
what's
yeah.
another option?
Yeah.
All right, so let's. I was like, all right, let's go and make comics. Let's get them drawn. Let's get them out there where people can see it. Creativity is one of the best and hardest things to do, because once you have it, you have your own piece of the pie. Like you can market that character, you can showcase what you can do. And this isn't the only story I have. I have stories on stories, but this was the first one I chose to push out there.
This is your first baby
Yeah,
out
this is
there.
the first. So once it gets going, then it makes it easier to go and do everything else. I'm very happy with like
Hmm.
R.K. Rowling, Tyler Perry. Those are very inspirational people. They came from nothing, and even when about the time when they're about to break, they made it. And it's just, but there's a lot of pitfalls out there. There's publishers
Oh
out there
yeah.
that are willing to take your stuff. There's other artists out there that they want to showcase your stuff with theirs, and it may not be a bad thing, but sometimes if you publish something first and they publish it, you have intellectual property right issues that kind of come
Yeah.
into play. So
Yeah.
it's a thing you gotta navigate.
For every low, there's a high, and for every high, there's a low. So the important part is that you get your project out there, you get it seen, you get it known. And I like the fact that you did your research and you know that there are pitfalls. You're not going into this like, oh my god, I'm going to be perfect. Cuz a lot of
No, of
people
course.
unfortunately have that mentality where they think it's going to go smooth and perfect and nothing can go wrong, and then reality hits them.
Exactly. Exactly. That's there's this meme that I came across where the guy was he was crawling up a mountain and the mountain was named high school. And like, if I could just get to the top, and they get to the top and there's another mountain, it's college. You're like, if I just get to the top, and then you get on that mountain, now you have to work. And like, if I just get to the top, and then
Yeah.
it's always a constant. So I have my Facebook page, facebook.com/JB Comics. That is my page that I post everything that I'm kind of working on. I've also decided to do some awareness books too, because I wanted to teach kids lessons on top of
Oh
my other
yes.
comics.
I,
And
I saw
there's
I saw the Instagram post that you did on that, and I was like, oh look, he's versatile. It's always good.
yeah, because I wanted to try other things. I have a book for bullying going out, then I have a comic book for bullying, and then a comic book for denying the stealing. And those are all there. And once they're ready and people are interested, I'd like to showcase that as well. So I just wanted to have, so when I do have the booth on Comic Con, when all this COVID stuff is all done, I have something for everybody. Something for everybody,
Awesome.
whether it's a kid, an adult. I want to have something for everybody so I can get everyone interested and showcase what I can do.
That's awesome. Well, Julius, I really appreciate you taking the time and talking to me about your book. It's a great book. I enjoyed it a lot. Everybody, you have
Oh,
about 24 hours till this Kickstarter is
24
done.
hours. 23. It says 23 now.
23, 23 now. People, clock is
Whoa.
ticking. Get on that Kickstarter. Get yourself One
Doot,
Armed
doot.
Bandit. He said for $1 you can get the PDF, but how much, like, what can you get with like $5 or $10? Go find out. Go to his Kickstarter. We're gonna put the link in the description and comments and all that good jazz. As always, like, share, subscribe. Go follow Julius. You know I never lead you astray, at least not on purpose. And as always, see you next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.